performance in about an hour.
Hold on. All right, the recording has started. I'm here with Eddie Abasolo, the smoothest fighter of the West Coast. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm still on a tropical island. Last time, uh, last time we did a podcast, things were a little bit crazy in the U.S. I assume it's
Yeah,
still kind of crazy right now.
yeah. It's crazy in a different way, you know.
Yeah, for sure. How is
Yeah,
how is California right now?
it's cool, man. I've been back to training with all my teammates a little bit more now, and it's just getting back to normal. You know what I mean, slowly but surely.
Yeah,
But it just feels good to be back in there. You know.
yeah.
I mean, not that
Or
I haven't enjoyed the time off,
yeah, for
from
sure.
like the intense training and like been spending more time with my family. Uh, it pros and cons. You know what I mean? I miss fighting, but it was cool because I got to spend time with my family and all that stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Are the gyms open again already? Because on your Instagram, I saw you were training on a soccer field or a rugby field or something.
Yeah, yeah. It was a park not too far from the
Okay.
gym, and it's just a way that we can all just get together and hook up. You know what I mean? My man John Hurney, he's the one that put it all together, man. So shout out to him. It's especially in times like this, it's great to be able to have something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's dope because everyone from all over, like gyms all over, they just came. It's just a very humble get together. You know what I mean? No one's trying to prove nothing. Everyone's just trying to work out.
Yeah. That's like the best attitude to go to like spotting sessions or just training sessions in general.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any fight news coming up? Because before COVID, your MMA debut was coming up, but that got
Yeah, yeah.
canceled.
Uh, so far, nothing is set in stone.
Okay.
But I'm just trying to get ready, stay ready.
Yeah.
So whenever the opportunity comes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, something that a lot of people don't know is that you started Muay Thai pretty late. It's like
Yeah,
based on when you see a video of you fighting, it's like you've been doing it your whole life. So I wanted to cover like your life before you started fighting, because like I think
yeah,
everybody has like an interesting story, and some people
yeah,
covered your childhood before, but it's always like
mhm,
they always cover like the same things. So I wanted to go like
yeah,
a little bit deeper into that. Like,
yeah, for sure.
where where do you think the story of Eddie Abasolo starts?
Man, I don't know. I can't honestly say where my story starts. You know, as far as I can remember, but I know everything that happened beforehand also plays its part. You know what I mean? The
Yeah,
type of person my dad was and my mom was growing up. You know what I mean? Um, uh, it was just they taught me so much. You know what I mean? But they could only teach me these things through experience. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So had they never experienced, I would never learn the lessons that I've learned from them.
right.
Uh, so my story doesn't start when I'm born. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
even then, it can be pushed back to their parents, and then to their parents, and then to their parents. You know what I mean? So everything just kind of like snowballs
yeah.
into now.
Mhm.
But it depends. Which Eddie Abasolo are you asking about? Every
Yeah,
day I'm different because every day I'm learning, every day I'm growing. Um, the things that I'm into now, I wasn't into when I was younger, which is another reason why I started late.
mhm.
Um, I mean that and the lack of access,
Yeah,
but still, I was interested in other things, hanging out with my friends, you know, uh, just sports or whatever, you know what I mean, kicking it. Um, but yeah, it was just like all of us. I've just had stages in life, you know what I mean. Some
yeah.
better, some worse.
So what would be like your, I call it like a breakthrough point. So the name of the my blog is like Zero to Alpha. So I basically
Yeah,
I picked the zero as like my lowest low, when I was like depressed and suicidal. And it's like,
Yeah.
although I had a journey before that, that's why my current journey started. And I picked that point because that's like when my life changed, like drastically. Like that's when I got
Yeah.
into fighting. And so
Yeah.
what would be like your, I call it like my foundation. What would be
Yeah.
like the foundation for your current life?
Uh, my family, you know.
Okay.
I mean, that sounds like such a cliche answer, you know, but I mean, it's real. Like, no matter what, no matter what goes on in my life, inside Muay Thai, outside Muay Thai, regardless of whether I'm right or wrong, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the only thing that's really solid in my life.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that no matter what, I can always come back to. Uh, but that's pretty much my foundation. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Really, it's like I feel like people they get I'm trying to find a way to explain this. Um, there's fighters that just like to fight, and then there's fighters that are fighting for something. You know,
Yeah.
um, I feel like people who are fighting for something have I don't want to say more passion, but you can feel their energy and what it
Mhm.
means to them more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's harder to walk away from fighting when you're fighting. You use it as an outlet to either run to or run from certain things in life. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We all have these things. Not that we lack the courage to face them, but it's just a getaway so we can
Yeah.
assess and recalibrate. You know, that's my opinion.
Mhm. So you basically kind of grew up, if I can say it like that, when you had like your first kid, or
Nah, my family has been real tight actually, and that's what did it. But yeah, maybe the turning point is when I had my first kid because it was crazy. My entire high school, when I was in high school, I would tell people that I'm gonna be rich by the time I'm 22. You know what I
mhm.
mean? Like I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna be rich by the time I'm 22. And that was my.
Yeah.
I would just always say that whether it was jokingly, whether it was real. Sometimes I said it in a joking manner. Most of the time, I said it with full belief,
Mhm.
and I had no idea how I was gonna do it. Um, I remember 20, the year I turned 22. You know, I remember that promise, and I'm thinking to myself like, man, I am nowhere close to what I thought I was. You know what I mean? I thought I was gonna have a lot of money, I was gonna be rich, this
Yeah.
and that, because that's what I was saying. But then uh, it hit me as soon as I had my daughter, and I was like, so this is what I really meant when I was
Yeah.
saying that. You know what I mean? Um, so I was right, but in a different way. You know what I mean?
Different way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have now I have a family. I have a real family. You know,
Yeah.
my lady, my daughter, and like we're a family. So it was a huge accomplishment, And ever since then, I was just like, man, think I started looking at life different, of course, because the way I looked at females completely changed. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Um, Not that I looked at them in a horrible manner or anything, but it's just I I would put myself in my daughter's shoes if she was in this position. Things that I've
Mhm.
seen or may have done in the past. I would imagine, okay, what if this happened to my daughter? You know what I mean? I just started looking at things differently. Then,
Mhm.
just by looking at things differently from there, it became a practice, and then I started looking at everything different in my life. Uh, and then things just start to shift for the better. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Of course, things don't just go incline, incline, incline. Things go like this. You know what I mean? And the higher
Yeah.
you go up, the harder the further the fall. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The higher you go up, the further you fall. The higher you go up, the further you fall. But it's nonstop. Sometimes we might stay up here for a while, and then come down. Sometimes,
Mhm.
check this out. Sometimes we go like this, and we don't hit rock bottom. You know,
Yeah.
we start from here, and sometimes we go like this, and then just this little dip feels like rock
Mhm.
bottom in comparison to the highs. You know, so
Oh,
like
yeah.
say if yesterday or today we have a phenomenal day, just everything, things happened in our life that, my coffee was free because a person in front paid for it, or
Mm.
just stuff like that, just random things, and it's just a wonderful day. And then tomorrow you have a mediocre day. There's nothing wrong with it, but you have a mediocre day, yet
Yeah.
we feel like, man, today sucks. What a horrible day. Only because in comparison to the day prior. You
Mm.
understand what I'm saying? So a
Yeah.
lot of times when we feel like we're at rock bottom or we're at our lowest low, I look at all the other times where I was lower than this, um, if I stack the situations next to each other. But just in comparison to how well my life's been going, um, then it starts to look like it diminishes. You understand? That's just my
Yeah. Yeah.
opinion on how I see things.
No, that's an interesting viewpoint because, like, well, this is based on what I've seen in Belgium, but I heard other people say it as well. It's like family bond is kind of like gone, and I kind of realized it, but I started to realize it more because of living in Thailand. Like the community at the gym was so strong well, it wasn't really lockdown, but they would hunt for food, would literally go fishing, and we provided, and I
Yeah,
just became part of the family. And I'm not even a Thai, It was like this strong bond, and it's like that's weird. Like you just see how much they take care of each other. And for example,
yeah,
the kids, everybody's like, oh, the kids leave the house when they're like 15, or that's like a rumor we have in Belgium, and it's like, nah, unless they go fighting in Bangkok,
yeah.
of course. But otherwise, like everybody takes care of each other. It's like, wow, that's like a different mentality.
That's key, man. The thing is, you treat your the reason why I say the family is my base,
Yeah.
because um like, see, me, Eddie Abasolo, I'm a brand. As a fighter, we're all brands, or whatever we do. As a someone who's into doing podcasts, you're a brand. Whatever we're working on, we're our own brand, right?
Mhm.
Um, so we're our own business in a way, right? And the way
Yeah.
we treat people reflects our business. Um, so one thing that I was told by an OG is, um, treat start with your family. Treat your
Yeah.
business like you would treat your family. That's why you
Okay.
focus on your family. So the people that you go into business with, the people who you affiliate yourself with,
Mhm.
um, it'll become family oriented. But if I focus on my business, then it's all about just business. And
Yeah.
then I start treating my family like a business. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
what you focus on is how you're going to treat your other venture. Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Do you think like having such a strong family bond comes from your youth? Like I don't know how your family bond was before you started fighting or before you had your family.
Yeah. Uh, say it again.
So like your you say that you have a strong family bond and that's very important. Does that come from like your youth? Like how was your relationship with your parents or siblings if you have siblings?
Yeah, I would say it was typical. You know, um, I got in trouble a lot, uh, which was my fault. Because I was hard
Yeah.
headed. You know what I mean? I put my parents through hell,
Uh-huh.
most of the time. I didn't make it easy on them, so I can't sit here and be like, oh man, they've always punished me and this and that. But I deserved a lot. Probably more. I probably deserved more than I got.
Mm.
But you know, same with my siblings. We fought.
Yeah.
There was five of us. Two boys, two girls. I'm the oldest. Um, and it was different. I mean, I don't know what a family's supposed to be like, you know?
Mhm.
None of us do. We're just in a family, you know?
Yeah,
And that's
yeah,
why I don't understand when people say this it's not supposed to be like this. It's like what the hell you think it's supposed to be like? You know, we go through shit, we fight, we make up, we're there for each other, this and that, you know? But yeah, my family we always kept it tight, you know? Even through the rough times. Uh we always ate together, you know, we prayed together, uh
yeah.
we did everything together, you know. And we kept each other strong when we were, you know, kicked out on the street. uh
Mhm.
and I don't, you know, how my parents did it, I have no idea, you know, because me sometimes I find myself struggling, yet I have nothing to complain about, you know, because I have access, I have the resources to do everything. Sometimes
Yeah.
they had to make their own resources, so it was just stuff like that, uh, that I feel like may have shaped my mentality. You know,
Mhm.
my dad never let me quit. You know, when I was playing little league, he would go to work, sometimes two jobs, come home, take me to little league, and he was the coach of our team. And he always told me he was the hardest on me because he said if I'm gonna be the coach's son, I gotta be the best on the team, you know.
Mhm.
And there was times where I didn't want to do it, but he made me do it to the point where I'm out there crying. I don't want to do it,
Mhm.
you know, but he forced me to do it. And at the time, I hated him for it. You know what I mean? Like, man, I don't want to do this. Like, you're forcing me to do this. But it instilled uh, the attitude that I have today. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was just it, like I don't know how to quit. I I
Yeah.
won't let the guy next to me beat me. You know?
Mhm. Is that something that you try to instill in your kids as well? Because like a lot of people, they like when they age, they get a little bit softer, and then like, I'm
Yeah,
not gonna do that, you know?
yeah. Man, it's hard. It is hard. I try, but it's hard. You know? Um, and for a number of reasons, it's hard emotionally, and it's hard at times trying to find the right times to do it. You know,
Mhm.
when to let them say, okay, if I'm not into this, I don't want to do it, you know,
Mhm.
and when to not let them say I quit, you know.
Mhm.
Um
Okay.
I try to say when you start something, finish it. Just so at least
Mhm.
you know you finished it. You know what I mean? Because you really
Yeah.
don't know nothing until you've actually finished what you started, whether it's great
Okay.
work or not, you know. Uh but it I tried to, man, and it's hard emotionally because it's like, you know, sitting here seeing my daughter cry because she wants to quit and she has two more laps to go, you know. It's like I got to get in her face, you know,
Yeah.
sometimes just to make her do what she doesn't want to do. But then when she after she does it, you know, I give her space. Oh, I just say my daughter because my son runs with us as well, but
Yeah.
he's just he's just a little runner. He don't care, you know. He likes that. He likes the pain, man. But
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, with my daughter, I give her space, and then um, we talk, and then you know, she cracks a smile, and it's like, see, now don't you feel better? This and that, you know. And I just try to have these talks with her that you know that I tell them stuff that I say to myself. You know, when you feel like, you know, when you're cramping or you feel like you can't do it, your brain is gonna tell you to stop before your body can.
Yeah.
When your brain is telling you I can't do it no more, it hurts or I'm too tired, you know, what's the use? It's like your body can do twice as more, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy. We never know what we're capable of until we're put in that position. And mainly
Mhm.
I also explain I don't care about you being in shape or having muscles or anything. Main purpose is we have a big family, you know. It's me,
Yeah.
my wife, my 10-year-old daughter, my 6-year-old son, and my 2-year-old son. Um, if ever an emergency, I need to know that you guys can outrun the circumstance. You know what I mean? If that be the case, that we need to just get out the car and run, or we need to do this and that. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
uh just being ready for life. You know what I mean? As well as the mentality, because everything that is gonna make you want to quit.
Yeah. Yes. Fair point. Do you make your kids finish everything? Because like I dropped out of college a year before I would have finished, and people they didn't understand. They were like, "Why didn't you just finish that 1 year?" And I was like, "Look, I could do it, but I would waste a lot of money because college is expensive. It's
Yeah,
not as expensive in the States, but it's a lot of money still. It's like, so I don't want
yeah,
to waste my parents' money. Second of all, I'm never going to use a degree, and I don't want to do an internship because I worked with kids with like behavior problems and drug addictions, and I wasn't mentally mature enough either to like go through that again. I was like, no,
yeah,
that's just
yeah,
the worst idea ever. So
yeah.
I dropped out, but I only dropped out because I went in pursuit of something else. Like I started my blog, I started training MMA. Like, how would you how would you deal with that when your kids do something like that?
Right now it's not a big deal because the things there that they start are small. You know, they're
Yeah,
kids right now, so the projects or whatever they start, it's it's not a big deal. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just getting them to the habit of not and just letting it go. You know what I mean?
mhm,
I know a few people like that who will stuff, start projects and then never finish it. You know,
mm,
very talented minds, but
yeah,
if something never gets finished, then you know, it's just it's just on to the next. A whole bunch of halfway projects, just you know what I mean?
mhm,
Just piled up. Uh, but I don't have it all figured out. I'm learning all day,
yeah,
every day. You know, there's times where I'll uh, I'll I'll say something or do something or make a choice towards with my kids, or you know, react a certain way towards my wife or this and that, and I'll realize, I'll assess and uh try to understand how can I have approached it better, you know,
mhm,
uh like what ways that I approached it were good and what ways that I approached the situation are bad. So the next
mhm,
time the situation comes around, or next time, you know, a similar situation comes around, I won't be so hot in my seat. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'll have a little bit more patience, a little bit more calmness, and realize that nothing is really that big of a deal. I mean,
mm,
of course, there's big deals out there, but the things that we would normally complain about ain't really that big of a deal. Now, in the future, like say they get older, uh, if they quit because it's too hard, I probably won't let them quit.
yeah,
If they quit because their passion changes, then yeah, okay, I'll probably let them quit because they're not just quitting. You know what I mean? They're
yeah,
just doing what they love. You know.
mhm,
And me, I like growing up, I had so many phases, you know, of passion. One was
yeah,
wrestling, one was football, one was basketball, one was music, you know, and now it's Muay Thai. And who knows, man, you know, I used to say I'm gonna die in the ring, you know, like that's how much I love it. I'm gonna fight until I die.
mhm,
But you know, if things start to shift as far as my passion, you know, um, and simply that, just my passion, not because, you know, of this or that, as far as politics go, you know,
mhm,
strictly because my passion. I'm ready for the next chapter because I've went through phases and phases and phases, you know, and I've done all right in each phase. You know, I was able to make an impact in each phase of my life, you know.
mhm,
So I try to lead by example, but you know, who knows what's gonna happen? None of us knows what's going on, you know.
yeah.
We're just all trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Or we pretend that we know what's going on. That's like the adult life in a nutshell.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. They go like, oh, listen to me, I'm an adult, and it's like, yeah, but that's like a vague argument.
man. I feel like I feel like as an adult, most sometimes uh, we got it less figured out than when we were kids. You know,
Yeah.
when we were kids, like we have it all figured out. We have full belief in everything that we say. You know,
Mhm.
and that's how it should be. If we feel a certain way towards someone, we express it openly. You know, as
Yeah.
kids. You know, whether it's love or or I don't want to say hate, but there's times where kids pick on each other, and then the very
Oh
next
yeah.
moment they're best friends. I know I had friends like that where we would fist fight and then be cool, and then fist fight again and be cool.
Mhm.
Uh, but I mean that's I feel like as kids we got to figure it out because we wear our emotions on our sleeve, and we don't judge the next person, and you know what I mean. And the older we
Mhm.
get, the more we feel like we have to fit this persona, this description, especially if you're a person with a so-called title. This person is known for this, and for some reason you start falling into to believing that I have to present myself as what they think I am every time.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? If you're not conscious of your own if we don't do our own our self assessments, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you seen
Yeah.
the documentary The Last Dance?
The what?
The Last Dance. It's on Netflix or ESPN.
Nah.
I forgot. It's about Michael Jordan and the Bulls in their last year.
Oh yeah, no, I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's amazing. I never
Uh,
watched basketball, but I watched that. And Michael Jordan, he mentioned something similar. He was like the biggest mistake that I ever made was like taking on a title of a role model, because suddenly people expect you that you're perfect. They were expecting him to be perfect all the time, and then when
mhm.
he made a mistake and it went public, like public would just bash on him, and I'm like, oof.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard, man. It's hard, and that's what they mean by the pressure. And a lot of people say, "Oh man, I want this, I want that," but with these things that a lot of the majority want,
Mhm.
fame, the money, uh the screen time, it comes with a price,
Mhm.
it comes with pressure, and a lot of people can't handle that pressure, you know
Yeah.
uh there there's been times in my life where I've just wanted to be a certain level. You know what I mean? I don't want to get too big, but definitely would like to make an impact.
Mhm.
Because there's certain pressure that I don't want. That's just irrelevant. You know,
Mhm.
it I feel like it starts to become a show at a certain point. And since we're expected to be someone, the moment that our passion changes, because we're changing every
Mhm.
day, we're growing every day. We're picking up and letting go of different mannerisms every single day.
Yeah.
um, the moment I say something, that's just strictly my opinion, whether it be right at the moment or wrong at the moment or just very poorly put, you know, um, I'll get trashed. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I don't care what anyone thinks, but at the same time, I don't want people going around thinking the wrong things about me.
Yeah, yeah. Once you reach a certain level of fame, it's easy to get in like tabloids and stuff. I assume it's
Yeah,
like more an American thing. Like we
yeah.
don't have. I assume celebrities can't walk around on the streets normally. Well, like in Europe, they would. It's possible. Like we don't have these crazy people who chase them everywhere. Luckily,
Yeah,
yeah. For us, that's very absurd.
yeah. Uh, I, I I totally agree with you, man. It's crazy, and I can't. I can only speak on as far as my knowledge goes. I don't know it all. I haven't reached that level of fame, but I do a
Mhm.
lot of research on people on very successful people, who live unhappy lives. You know what I mean? Um, Now is that real success? You know what I mean? I don't think so. It's
Yeah.
it. it it's success isn't, well, it's all about how you look at it. If you feel like you've reached success, yet you're still unhappy, but you've reached these pinnacles. I've made this amount of money. I've gotten, my name on the Hollywood Walk. You know what I mean? All that stuff. Then hey, by all means. But for my definition of success, it's just being happy and dying
Mhm.
happy. You know,
Yeah.
living happy and dying happy. Out of the worst thing that I can ever feel is regret. There are things that I have regretted in my life, and just regret is the worst feeling that you could ever feel, because you can't take nothing back, no matter how much you apologize to this person or that person. It's just, you can never take the feeling back of regret. Um, and for that to be your last feeling as you go out, man, I feel like that sucks. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
If I'm going out and I can just feel the love, then I've lived a successful life, Well,
Mhm.
I feel like we'll find out. No one really finds out their success until they're on their deathbed,
Yeah.
who who's there for you and stuff like that.
Mhm. Do you think regret is based on the fact that you missed out on something, or did something wrong, or do you think regret is more like a feeling because you look back on a situation but you didn't learn the lesson that goes along with the situation?
Uh, can you repeat that last part?
So do you think regret is because you missed out on an opportunity or did something wrong in the past? Or do you think regret is more like you looking back on a situation but not learning the lesson yet that goes along with the situation?
Man, I don't know, man. I just know that regret is, like, for me, the feeling that I get, just feel like there's a hole in my stomach, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's whether it's an opportunity that I took or an opportunity that I didn't take. Um, whichever the circumstance gives me regret.
Mm.
Um, it's uh, it's like heart. It's the closest thing I could say. It's like a heartbreak. You have all these
Yeah.
questions. If you've ever got your heart broken before, you would know that you have all these questions, and no matter how many of those questions get answered, you're still not satisfied with the answer. You have more questions. You repeat the
Mhm.
same questions. Why this and that? Um, and it's just like, and there's nothing we can do about it. No matter
Yeah.
what we're told, we're not satisfied with the answer. No matter what we do, we just, there's no way to fix it until we learn from it. Uh, the last part of your question was going through a situation, we're not learning from it. The thing is, I can't really regret nothing now, because I
Yeah.
understand that even the bad choices, even the missed opportunities, even the opportunities that I took that I shouldn't have, or whatever the case
Yeah.
that may cause regret, um, I wouldn't be the man I am today. I wouldn't be as humble as I am today. Well, I try to think of myself as humble,
Mhm.
only because I know what can be gone tomorrow or tonight. Everything. Uh, it all comes with a cost. You know, and
Yeah.
regret are just these mistakes that we made in the past, but they shaped us to who we are today. Because I'm
Yeah.
sure we can look at a pinnacle in our life and then look at the road leading up to it, and I'm sure there's some fucked up shit up in there to where we're like, man, I would never want to go through that again. But had
Mhm.
that not happened, I would have never made it here, you know?
Yes.
So, uh, when things like that happen to me, I feel like they're just lessons being taught to get me ready for what for what's coming to me,
Mhm.
you know? Because
Yeah.
I guarantee you, if you want to call it fame, recognition, or whatever, if I've had my status that I have now, if I had it 3, 4 years ago, I would not be ready. I would not be responsible enough. I'd be reckless to maintain what I have. I wouldn't have the discipline. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. comes with a price. I think John Jones is like the perfect example of that. Like everybody, especially the casual fans, they give him so much shit, and I'm like, imagine you being a world champion with millions in your bank account at 20, 22, 21. It's like
Yeah.
everybody would go crazy. Like you're not mature
Yeah.
enough to go through that.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
easy to judge from the outside.
Yeah. For sure.
But I was asking the regret question because like whenever I do something that doesn't work out, it's like I just always try to learn the lesson because it's like if I don't learn a lesson from a certain situation, I will probably end up doing it again, and that's when it
Hmm.
becomes painful. If you make the same mistake twice,
Yeah.
uh,
Um. Well, I don't know, man. I feel like if you go through a situation and you regret how you approached it, right?
mhm,
Um. Yet we want the situation to work. We approach it differently, right? We
mhm,
know the only I like check it out. The only reason why I know uh where to put my head when a strike is coming is because I know where not to put my head. I got hit in the face a lot before I was able to really start making things miss. You know,
mhm,
we have to know what not to do in order to know what to do.
mhm,
You know, so it's a
yeah,
I mean, if we really want a circumstance to work, we just got to keep approaching it. And yeah, we might fail, but every time we fail, we're failing closer to success. You know, so we
mhm,
can't let regret stop us.
yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that because I like to fight it with my hands down too. And somebody asked me recently, like, how did you do it? And I was like, I just got hit in the face a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
That was the only reason why I got good at it because like everybody I sucked at it that I was like I don't want to keep my hands up all the time. I didn't see the point in it.
yeah,
Yeah, just like circumstantial guard. Yeah. Now you wait, cannabis is legal where you live, right?
yeah.
Okay. How did you get into cannabis? Like how did you discover like the power of the plant?
Um, how did I get into it?
Yeah.
Well, I've pretty much been into it since high school.
Okay.
Me and my buddies, we would just kick it,
Mhm.
casually, the same way as you would kick it casually with a beer, with your buddies and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And it was just a thing. And then I just always, I don't know. For me, I felt like it took the edge off. It helped me become calm in the chaos when I'm
Mhm.
sparring or training. You know, it was able to take the edge off to a point to where when I'm hitting pads, hitting the bags or shadow boxing, uh I'm more focused on how it feels than how it looks, you know?
Okay.
And then from there I start once I got the feeling right, my rhythm down, then I start
Mhm.
working on cosmetics. Making sure my hip is turned, making sure my hands are up, making sure my posture is good and tall. Uh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And I feel like cannabis got me there because I'm
Mhm.
just it got me focusing on certain things, not just the contact, you know,
Mhm.
but how to remain on balance, whether I'm initiating contact or receiving contact, you know, stuff like that.
Mm. Do you use it to like enhance creativity as well?
Creativity.
Yeah, to like enhance it.
Uh, I believe so. Uh,
Uh,
I would probably say it doesn't. Well, for me at least, it doesn't enhance my creativity. It just
mhm.
pushes aside everything that blocks my creativity. You know what I mean?
Mm.
We all
Yeah.
have the creativity. The creativity is there. There's just certain things that fog our mind from the creativity, or things
Mhm.
that certain thoughts or emotions. Maybe we're in the gym, but we've had a bad day, so we're not really in the gym. Our
Yeah.
mind isn't in the gym. Uh, like it just moves everything out the way and just helps me focus on what I'm doing at the moment.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Um, how do you respond to people who say like as an athlete you can't smoke and it will affect your cardio?
Like what do you mean? Like what type of response do I would
Yeah,
I
like
give?
yeah, because like you obviously smoke, so I assume that it doesn't affect your cardio that much.
I would say it does, you know, because I've definitely felt uh there's been times where I felt at my peak and I wasn't smoking at all. I would just eat like edibles and stuff like that.
Okay.
Um, but at the same time, man, I've always felt like I'm the exception, you know. Uh, well, I feel like we should all feel like we're the exception. When someone tells us we can't do something, well, I'm the exception. I can, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna show you. Uh, you know, I've seen fighters do it, fighters that I look up to, but they're like smoking cigarettes right before their fight and stuff like that. And
Mm.
my response to anything that anyone has to say that's controversial, do what works for you. You know,
Yeah.
this works for me. Yeah, it may affect my cardio, but I know how to use my cardio. A lot of people
Mhm.
have great cardio, but they don't know how to apply their cardio. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because if you break their composure, then they start to panic. When someone's
Yeah.
composure is tested, they start to panic. When you ever start touching their ego, just poking at their ego, you don't even have to crack them, but you start
Mhm.
poking at their ego with strikes that they don't see, they start to panic and start to gas out. I don't care how many sprints you can do, you know. Uh,
Yeah.
if I can get you to lose the rhythm of your own breathing, then it's a wrap.
Yes.
I can get you tired and then what? My cardio is better, even though on paper, even though if we lab test it, yours may be uh better, on paper. It's like I know how to use mine sufficiently.
Mm. Have you ever smoked before a fight?
I
Because like,
wish.
and I wish
I wish,
you have to come.
man. I really
You have to
I
come to
really
Thailand.
wish. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a common
man.
thing here.
Oh
I've
yeah?
seen. Oh yeah, man, I've seen crazy shit here. Like guys who drink 7 beers before they go into the ring, and because they have so much experience, they still look amazing. Like if you wouldn't know, you wouldn't even realize they were drunk.
Yeah. And that's the
They
thing
just
too, man. Like some art, you know what I mean? He used to smoke and some rock he used to uh drink, you know what I mean? It's just like these guys do it. Uh
yeah,
Romy, Joe Schilling, you know what I mean? They all
yeah,
smoke like right before. I remember I was warming up. No, I wasn't warming up. I was at one of Kevin Ross's fights, and I was in the back with him. He was hitting pads, and Romy's fighting that night as well, and he's just back there, like we're outside. There's canopies and stuff, and Kev is hitting pads, and he's just over there smoking a cigarette, waiting for his fight. I'm like, damn, it's like
yeah,
it really is in the mind. You know what I mean? It's all in the
yeah,
mind. Because those who don't give a damn, they believe they can do it. They know they can do
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's fun to get exposed to this. We had a guy here, and he's like kind of wasted potential a little bit. He fought in Bangkok, but he was just sick of it. He was just
Yeah.
I want to just make money, and he's an amazing fighter, and he fought 5 rounds without any training. He's always in shape because he was holding pads, but before the fight he was like smoking and drinking, and we were
Yeah.
all looking, and I was like, because the guy he was fighting he was in shape, and he just beat him
Yeah.
because he did what you mentioned. He just annoyed him. He was playing with him, and
Yeah.
the guy got annoyed, and the guy was gassing as well. And it was like, damn,
Yeah,
like
man.
that's what you can do after 300 fights.
I feel like if you know how to play the game, it just, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It matters to an
Yeah,
extent. You know what I mean? You can get away with it.
yeah, it's amazing how they're so efficient with what they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you do you focus on mindset? Like you can improve your mindset by struggling in the gym, but like, do you read books or do you do you write reflecting stuff?
Yeah, from time to time when I'm training, when I'm running or stuff like this, I mean, I'm sure we all get it. when we work out, our body releases endorphins, and then like all of a
Yes.
sudden we become so motivational, you know. And I guarantee you, you go on a run, a 2 mile run. By the end of that run outside, you'll have some motivational shit in your head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's just writing down things, uh, listening to things. I don't read as much because I'm always
Mhm.
like on the go, or
Yeah.
I have my kids with me, so I'm just constantly rolling around and playing with them. But
Mhm.
whatever comes to you, we all have it, man. We all have it. It's just whatever comes to you. Thoughts, whatever inspires you. I may see something that intrigues me in a way, and seeing, say a interaction with this person and that person, and whether it was genuine or not. You know what I mean? How much love was put into the situation. If there was a misunderstanding. It's just things come to mind, and instead of posting it on Instagram or Facebook, I just seen this happen or this and that. Just like myself, I try to assess and try to see both sides' point of view, and just understand what's happening. And it's just a common practice, you know uh just constant assessment. Now that doesn't mean to don't be a, to that doesn't mean to be afraid to feel sporadically, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But at the same time, it's just a balance, you know? It's just slowing down, you know? At one point, and there's times where I fall out of it and then I fall back into it. I have to remind myself to slow down. I always feel like I'm in a rush. I need to get here. I need to do this. I need to accomplish this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Uh, and then when I see other people winning, um, I I'm happy, but at the same time, I feel like, damn, I'm slacking. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but then but then I also have that same argument with myself. I'm constantly going back and forth with myself. Uh,
Mm.
use that as motivation. I've always used people who are doing more than me as motivation, not as a sense of envy, but a sense of what's possible, you know?
Yeah. But do you think that it's kind of over exaggerated right now with like the social media days? Because you have like these people who like they try the 5 a.m. challenge, and like that's amazing if you push yourself to get up at 5. I think it's amazing. But then they post like on, I think you have to post on Instagram or something, or someone on social media. You have to post like, oh, I got up at 5. But then I'm like, how much credibility does it have? Because you post you got up at 5, but after that you don't post anything anymore. So you can basically get up, post, and then go to sleep again. And it's like,
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel it, man. I feel it. But again, whatever works for you, whatever gets you there.
yeah,
Maybe, uh, just just maybe, we never know. Say that is what happens, and I'm sure there's a few people who are out there doing it, just
yeah,
post, go back to sleep, but that's subconsciously developing a habit, you
mm,
know a small habit, whether they're lying or not. No, they're not lying because they're up at 5, so they're
yeah, yeah,
completing the challenge. There's no rules of saying you can't go back to sleep,
yeah,
but eventually, just by building that small habit, one of those mornings, maybe they may just not go back to sleep and actually do
that's true.
something, just stretch
Mm,
or this and that, or whatever. Go outside, sit on the porch, and enjoy the silence, whatever. Then they realize how good it feels, and I'm gonna do it again tomorrow, and the next day,
mm,
and then the next day. Then another habit has been built. You know, now when I get up, I'll probably go for a light walk. That it don't have to be a
mm,
jog or anything. It could just be a walk. And then it turns into a run. The next thing you know, they're a fitness. They're a freaking fitness coach. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Stuff
yeah.
like that. And it just all starts with little habits that snowball. You know.
Mm. Do you think that some people like go from 0 to 100 like a little bit too fast? Like when they, I don't know, try to lose weight or try to change our lives.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. I feel like hold on, give me 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that happens a lot because I know it happens to me a lot. I try
Mm.
to go cold turkey, like, oh, I'm gonna start on Monday. That's the main thing. I feel like that's the main quote that everyone can relate to.
Yeah.
I'll start on Monday. You know, like who starts a diet on a Wednesday? You know what I mean? I'm starting on Monday. uh,
Mm.
but I'm sorry. What was the question again? I just lost my train of thought.
Got as well. Oh, do you think people go from a 0 to 100 too
Oh
fast
yeah,
when they?
yeah, and I feel like that's more demolishing than anything, because
Yeah.
whenever I try to do it, I crash hella hard, and then I
Yeah.
binge even harder. You know what I mean? Um, but again, it's just developing small habits, just small,
Yeah.
maybe. And the easiest habit that has helped me when I start trying to get ready for fight camp is I just start with water. You know, I'm not drinking any liquid but water.
Mm.
And then from there, I'll build a habit of just drinking water, and then all right, no bread, you know, or bread maybe once a week. You know what I mean? I won't just cut it out completely.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's just slow, incremental, like anything, man. Step, step, step. One step climbs the mountain,
Mm.
one step at a
Funny.
time.
It's funny that you mentioned the Monday thing because, like, if I look at the things where I got, well, in my opinion, successful at, like all those things I never started on a Monday. I just started whenever.
Yeah,
I just started on a
yeah,
random day, and all those things
yeah,
that started on a Monday, I was like, nope, it just didn't
yeah,
work out, or never started.
yeah, for real. And the things that just started on a random note, these are things that we don't say, that we don't tell no one we're gonna do either. You know,
Mm.
we just do it. There's no need for an announcement. You know.
Yeah. So like the people who make the same New Year's resolutions every single year.
Yeah.
It's like because I think it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Well, because we feel like it's a fresh start. We're
Yeah.
gonna do it
New year,
right.
new
We're gonna
me.
do it. Yeah, we're gonna do it right this time. This and that. But I feel like if we really, and I've tested this theory out. I've tried to go about it, um, and it works. If you want a New Year's resolution, you got to start in September. You don't start in January.
Mm.
You start in September. You know,
Okay.
so because and it doesn't have to be a cold turkey thing either. Remember, everything is incremental. You know,
Mm.
and it's all about gaining momentum. Uh, it's easier if I get a running start from a jog versus having to explode into a sprint. I can go faster, more efficiently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I had a choice, if you let me like get a little bit running start versus just exploding, I can go faster and farther because by the time I've reached my peak, I've developed a rhythm. You know what I mean? And then I can start uh, pressing and stepping efficiently. So by the time, if I start in September, by the time January comes around, I'm already in momentum. I'm already on a
Mm.
roll. You know what I mean? While everyone's
Okay.
starting, I'm already, I already got my ball rolling. You know?
Yeah.
So then it just makes it easier because now I've developed a habit by the time everyone is making a New Year's resolution, you know?
Do you think people never fully get to understand the power of like momentum because they go cold turkey or like want to go too fast too soon?
Uh, yeah, Yeah, it's definitely something I have to think about a little extra in order to somewhat understand it, you know?
Yeah.
Cuz um it's just everyone just it's like the dang what's that feeling called? The newlywed feeling, the honeymoon feeling. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And everything feels fresh. Everything feels good. You know, you're proud and this and that.
Mhm.
Um, but the very moment we encounter uh, a stick in the mud or a speed bump, you know, we crash because we think that we're everything's supposed to be running smoothly. You know, I feel
Mhm.
like when we gain momentum, we have failures within the process of gaining momentum, and
Mhm.
then where we learn to deal with those. Since we're making small adjustments, there's small failures, and then we learn to deal with those failures and deal with more failures and deal with more failures. Uh, with successful moments in the mix as well, but you know, once we get that momentum, man, it's uh it's easier to overcome things. And I feel like a lot of us, we just don't have the patience because when we make a decision, we want it tomorrow. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? We don't. It takes a lot of work. We gotta show that we want it. You know, and it may sound cliche to say, but we gotta show that we want it because things only thrive if you put care into them. You know, a plant will, your garden will only flourish if you take care of it. You know, so how do we take care of it? We put energy into it. We take time and we become patient with it, and we you know, put our focus onto it, and then everything
Mhm.
starts to turn greener and the colors start to get brighter. The soil becomes healthy. Uh, as whatever I want, whether it's patience or this and that, I'm gonna be. I gotta put my energy into it, you know. And whenever we ask for something, we gotta understand that we're gonna get what we ask for. If we want patience, we're not gonna be blessed with patience. If we want courage, we're not gonna be blessed with courage. You know, if we want a stronger relationship with one another, we're not just gonna be zapped with love. You know what I mean? That's not how prayer works.
Mhm.
If we pray for patience, we're gonna be given the opportunity to be patient, meaning our patience is gonna be tested. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If we
Yeah.
pray for courage, we're gonna be given the opportunity to show courage. So that means we're gonna be placed in a lot of fear. You know,
Mhm.
if we want a stronger relationship with one another, we're going to be given opportunities to where we can do things together. You know,
Mhm.
things we still have to work for it when we pray for them. You know,
Do you think that like you pursuing career in fighting helps you develop that mindset? Because like back in the day, I used to give up way easier than I do now. Like I'm just refuse to quit.
yeah, definitely, definitely. There's so many things I learned from fighting that
Yeah.
apply in life. You know,
Mhm.
being patient, being patient.
Yeah.
Uh, I feel like patience and composure in a fight. It's really about who loses their composure and who loses their patience first and overreaches. You know,
Mhm.
whoever overreaches first is gonna get caught slipping. You know, same thing in life. If we overreach, we usually get caught slipping. You know, just take what's necessary, be patient, and take what's there. If the inside leg kick is there, but I want this body shot, I'm not gonna be stubborn and just keep hitting the guard. You know, I'll take the inside
Mhm.
leg kick until that opens. If there's a certain thing that I want in life, I'm not gonna keep trying to force myself upon it uh, as if it's gonna break open. I'll take the
Mhm.
opportunities that are presented to me, and then through the process, eventually, when what I want opens up, I'll be ready for the opportunity. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's one lesson I learned from fighting to life. Another one is the only thing promised in a fight is one, you're gonna miss, and two, you're gonna hit. You're gonna
Yeah.
get hit. It's inevitable, you know. Even the greats get hit. Even the greats miss. Uh, but it's how we flow in and out of these misses and these moments where we get hit, right?
Mhm.
How well we keep our composure. How do we deal with them? What adjustments do we make? In life, it's the same thing. That's the only thing promised. We're not promised nothing. We don't own nothing, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
we're gonna get hit with unexpected tickets or bills or this and that stuff, or relationship problems or things that just aren't pleasant. And we're gonna miss opportunities. We're gonna miss deadlines. We're gonna miss things here and there. It's just like a fight. How well do we keep our composure and uh, be patient enough to take what's there and work with what we got, to
Mhm.
bounce back, make the adjustments. Everything,
Mhm.
the strategy and the IQ and the mindset, the respect and everything, from martial arts. It just all martial arts is life, man. That's
Yeah.
how I
I
feel.
agree on that. Yeah, I have the same. Yeah, it's like Joe Rogan says, they're a vehicle to realize your full potential or something like that. He
Yeah,
has like this one quote. Yeah, I agree on that. Like martial arts shaped you in a good way, but like here in Thailand, it's like a culture. Like Muay Thai lives here.
yeah,
Like, and especially living here now for such a long time, I appreciate it even more. I love it even more because of the
yeah,
culture. But like we don't have that in like Belgium. There is no fighting culture. It's like
yeah, yeah,
that's the last thing a parent wants is that their kid becomes a fighter. You know?
yeah. But it's crazy, man, because I feel like in Thailand, they're the some of the most humble, some of the most happy, some of the most welcoming people that I've ever met.
Yeah.
Uh, but they're some of the most dangerous at the same time. You
Mhm.
know, they'll kill you
Yeah.
with a smile. It's crazy. They'll be able to do it with a smile on their face. And
Yeah.
that's what really made me appreciate the art that I've chosen as in Muay
Mm.
Thai. I respect all the other arts. I respect, you know, wrestling, taekwondo, MMA, jiu-jitsu, judo, capoeira, whatever, you know what I mean? Fucking
Yeah.
kung fu. Like anything that makes you better. I respected it that much more ever since I went to Thailand.
Mm. Yeah. It's amazing. We have our head coach. He used to be the head coach of Phuket top team. He's like a 10 times Raja champion. That guy's a
Yeah.
book of knowledge, and he's so humble. If you see him walking on the streets, you wouldn't even know he's a fighter.
Yeah.
And you can't even when you spar with him. I've never sparred with him, but I've seen him spar with people, and nobody can touch him.
Yeah.
He's just standing there, leaning on the ropes, doing his thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Man,
it's yeah,
when you're
it's
in, when you're
interesting.
you said
Oh, go
what?
ahead.
I was just gonna say when you're in your element, man, it can't no one touch you.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's funny how all these Thais don't have an ego, but at the same time they kind of do because they're so proud of the sport. It's
Yeah.
like when a Thai loses to a foreigner, they're kind of like, nah.
Yeah.
Or if or there was a foreigner recently that fought, and our head coach knew the Thai he was fighting, and he was like,
Yeah.
if that Thai runs, that foreigner has not a single chance to win. He won't make it out of the first or the second. He said, and I was like, that's an
Yeah.
interesting quote. Yeah, the guy never ran, but he was freaking dangerous.
Dang. That's tight.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you start when you're 8,
Yeah.
and then you fight like 300 times, you're basically a walking weapon.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, man. Hey, I got about 5 more minutes, cause I gotta get back to the kids.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but yeah, man. Um, this was heck of fun, bro.
Yeah, it's always fun to have you on.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, man.
Shout out to sponsors, Instagram, because you're active on Instagram a lot more now. You're posting training videos.
Yeah,
It's fun
yeah,
because through like what you post, I understand your style more.
yeah, yeah. Um, yeah, my Instagram is Eddie underscore Abasolo underscore show. And yeah, man, I'm just trying to get more active on the social media, you know.
Hmm.
Especially since quarantine, man. You know, I don't really like doing the social media. I don't really
Yeah,
like being in the camera. You know what I mean? I don't really like doing all this other stuff, but it's what we have to do, you know.
yeah,
Um, it like I don't like being, all up in the camera, but I do love to share knowledge,
mm,
as much as my knowledge can take me, you know what I mean? I don't have all the knowledge, I'm limited, I'm learning as well,
yeah,
and I'm still learning to this day. So, you know what I mean? I'm just trying to post to show ways that I do what I do, and the way I do what I do is not the way, it's just a way because there's so many.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's an amazing quote. Do you have any sponsors or stuff where people can use a discount code?
I don't think I have discount codes, but um, I, shout out to my sponsors. And I have so many, but I don't want to leave none of them out. You know what I mean? Uh, they know who they are. If you go
They know.
onto my if you guys go to my page, you'll for sure see all my sponsors because I rep them all day, every day. You know what I mean? They take care of me, and
Yeah,
yeah, man. Just follow me and tune in.
yeah. All right. Thanks so much, and have a nice day.
Thanks, brother. It's good talking to you, man.